Okay, everybody, this is Sheets, and I'm gonna do the same thing I did last week. I'm gonna just do a quick kind of MMA video. I think we did I mean, I don't know if anybody actually won the whole thing, or whatever, but I'm just gonna say that we really had a beat on it last week. I mean, the analysis was pretty spot on. The approach was really spot on, and then you kind of got, you have to get a little lucky. The one spot that we didn't quite get was the what was it? Marquez getting upset by Rodriguez. No, we had Rodriguez getting upset by Marquez, and you needed Marquez actually in the optimal, and that was the one little piece that we couldn't quite get. But everything else was just perfect. And I really am enjoying this. It's very low level intelligence with respect. I don't mean MMA in general. I just mean with respect to constructing lineups, because you don't have this incredible correlation issue that is always in the air when it comes to basketball and football and things like that. And you have it all kind of right in front of you. It's just, finding good, good fights that rate to score well, and hopefully you get some low ownership. But what you do find is that each slate lends itself to the process being effective, and sometimes the way pricing works makes it really difficult to create a lot of lineups. So, like, for example, like last week, I thought was like literally as easy as you could be. They made it so that I really got almost every lineup I wanted with only 20 lineups. Turns out, I mean, I could have used one that I didn't want, right, which was that Marquez lineup. But aside from that, I mean, it was just perfect. I think this week the pricing's a little tighter with respect to that, but we're gonna see. But I don't mean to say tighter. I just mean that from an MME perspective, there's not all that many lineups that I can make, given what I want to do, which I guess is a good thing, right? So I just want to just make the lineups I can make and just be done with them, right? So let's again do the same thing that we always do. Now I do have a couple of leans in certain fights, but we're going to go through the process for all of them. And first we look for those kind of just uber equity plays. Like we had one last week where a guy was just kind of the underdog, well, the favorite in the fight, but an underdog on the DraftKings pricing model because of the switched fight. I thought that should have been 100% owned. It was 60% owned. So aside from that, so we were 100% on it. So I thought that was great. In addition to that, that fight ended in the first round. So that was like double perfect, right? So what we'd like to find is a combination of those, but I don't have any real big equity plays this week yet. I mean, there could be one in the next day or so to come up, but I don't think I'm going to be around at lock tomorrow. So I wanted to get this out to here now. So what we're looking for then is kind of like the key fights, and then we could throw in our kind of our leans, our good plays. So again, we're looking at the inside the distance props pretty much. And let's just take a look. This fight, the Maverick Robertson fight, we're going to talk about that in a minute, but no, that's no good. We're looking for one that has a round prop circling around the 1.5 round as opposed to the 2.5. And if you do have to go to the 2.5 round, it really needs to be pick 'em or better. So this is not like the greatest fight in the world, so that's not really a key fight. But this next one is Rowe versus Green. That's it's a pick 'em at 2.5 rounds, which is it's a pretty quick one. And compared to other fights in this card, it's one of the better ones. So you have a fight that rates to finish relatively quickly, which is good. And what's also, I guess, interesting is that neither fighter is a big favorite. So you have a situation where you probably want to get some of both guys. Now, this is the closest thing to an equity play because you see that Gabe Green is minus 150, 140 across the board. But on the board, he's actually priced as a small underdog. Everything adds up to what, 16,200 between the fights. So Rowe is 82 and Gabe Green is 8,000. If anything, it should be flipped. So Gabe Green is actually a good combination of a good equity play and a good inside the distance play. But I don't really have much of an opinion on that. So I think I'm going to play Gabe Green a little bit more, but I'm going to get Phil Rowe also. So probably, you know, if I play 10 lineups, 6 with Green, 4 with Rowe. Kelleher Simone is not a good fight for kind of like to get both pieces of as far as inside the distance, because it doesn't really rate to finish quickly. I mean, it rates to be a fight where Simone just takes down Kelleher like a bunch of times over the course of the fight. We're going to get to it, though, because Kelleher has this one thing he could do that could turn the tables. And as a big underdog, you get, if he can get a guillotine at, you know, and surprise Simone with a knockout at low ownership and an underdog, you probably want to play a little of that. But it's not a fight you really want to key as far as inside the distance type of stuff. Simone's probably a really, really good play, but we'll get to that later. Gutierrez Newell, not really, right? Not the greatest inside prop. Martin Viana, no. Even Muhammad, who's rates to be a big favorite, not a great inside the distance prop. So this is the one. So Vieira rates to probably finish in the first round or close, and he's a big favorite. So this is the guy that you're gonna want to probably go 100% on. I think that's what I'm gonna do. I think I actually might, just for kicks, throw maybe one lineup in with Hernandez. If I go, just because Vieira's gonna be such a massive favorite that if Hernandez does get a lucky shot in, you're gonna be the nuts, right? So if I play 20 lineups, maybe 2, but probably 1. If I play 10 lineups, I might play 1, but Vieira will probably be, I would say, probably 100%. Pitolo Marquez. Now this is a great fight to get all of. So again, it's a pick 'em at 2.5 rounds. It's actually not bad at under 1.5 rounds. So you definitely want to get some of both these guys. I guess Marquez would be, you know, the slight lean, but the price is kind of reflecting of the win chances, right? Like Marquez is 8,700 and Pitolo is 75, I guess that would be. And it's probably about fair, but so I would get both of them, right? So this is another key fight. Miller Green, not so much. Hainis Gastelum, not so much from an inside the distance. Barber Grasso, no. And then the Usman fight, the main is almost always something you want to try to get in. This is interesting because I think if it finishes early, I think you have to play it, because if it finishes early, I think Burns has the better chance because he's, you know, kind of got those sneaky submission moves. And Guzman's definitely like if you ever see him fight, I actually have seen him fight before. He's been, you know, I've since I've been playing MMA, I have a chance to see him. I mean, it's really frustrating. I mean, he like stomps your feet. He like rushes you up against the cage. It's not really pretty, but he just kind of grinds you. And over a 5-round fight, you can just pick up a lot of like cheap little points that way. So even though Usman is probably not going to finish Burns, that's 5 rounds are going to be enough to get him in the optimal. And if Burns wins, it's going to be because he probably knocks him out or submits him. So that could be good for him too. So you want to get 100% of this fight too. So of this fight. So what do we have here, right? So we have Burns Usman, we have Marquez Pitolo, you have Vieira, and then Gabe Green, Phil Rowe, right? So you want to make sure that you get some of 1, 2, 3, like all 4 of those fights. And then what you want to do is you want to filter in other people that you kind of like. And I'll just kind of go through them. I think that Jillian Robertson is a pretty live underdog. I remember she's only like 110 underdog, but she's priced 7,500. So she's pretty live. And she also, her path to victory is probably by a submission. So it's, you know, kind of decent correlation in that respect. I mean, like, I don't think she gets a decision. So, and if you bet on her in DFS, you really don't want her to get a decision, but you want her to finish if possible. So There's her. There's Simone, who I talked about earlier. Not going to play the Gutierrez fight. Not going to play the Mallory Martin fight. Probably not. The Muhammad fight's pretty good. You can get him in. Rivera, we talked about. Not going to play the Bobby Green fight. And this Gastelum is pretty good. So that's really the only place I really want to go with respect to lineup. So as you'll see, and you'll see for yourself, you know, if you did what I said and get, you know, 50% Burns, 50% Usman, 50% Marquez, 50% Pizzolo, 50, and then like almost 100% Vieira, maybe one Hernandez. The way pricing is, you're not going to be able to get like two other studs in, right? So if you're going to play Vieira, you're not going to be able to get in, and you'll see, like, you probably won't even be able to get an Usman all too often, right? So let's just say that you want to play Usman and Vieira. Well, then first of all, you certainly are going to have to play Pizzolo, right, in that spot. But even then, right, you can't really do it. What you're going to have to do, if you want to play Usman and Vieira and Simone, for example, I mean, you really can't get any of the guys that we liked, you know. So that's why it becomes kind of a weird type of, not weird type of build, but just one where you're not going to get as many lineups as normal playing the way that I want to play. So, like, for example, if I play Usman and I do want to play Vieira, I have to do one of two things, right? Even considering that I have the two cheapest guys in these two key fights, what I'm going to have to do is either not play Vieira or not play Simone. So if you do that, then you can get guys, but even still, it's no bargain, right? Now you're getting maybe Robertson, and then you're bend to these guys you don't want to play, like maybe Grasso or something like that. So it becomes a slate where I can get I think a couple of lineups that I really like, and then I just kind of run out. It's kind of best way to describe it. So it depends on what type of player you are. Like if you want to put 150 lineups, and I can't, I have no edge there. Gastelum, he's, just before I forget, like he's another guy I kind of like, but even him, like in this build, you just can't even do it, right? I mean, you play Usman and Vieira, you can't even get to him. So it's tough. It is tough. You're going to either really have to take a stand with Burns, which it really isn't such a bad idea, actually, or probably not play Vieira, if that makes any sense. If you play the way that I play, I mean, certainly you could just like just run an optimizer and hope you get the right combination of these decisions go your way. But I just don't like to play that way. So I guess that's it. Hopefully this helps, and I will not be in the Discord Saturday night for MMA. Fortunately or unfortunately, I have Valentine's Day, and I'm going out for dinner with my wife. Rule number 1, keep the ladies happy. Rule number 2, if you're thinking of not keeping the ladies happy, see Rule 1. That's it. Talk to you guys later.